Niall McGrath here with Senior Vice President of EMEA, Dave Allen. Dave, first of all, back in Dublin, huge event is taking place, obviously, today. Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo, the crescendo to the World Media Tour. Obviously, how are you doing, first of all? Great to be back in Dublin.
It's super to be back home. Came in on a rocky airplane last night. I think the waves were splashing the flights coming in, never mind the boats. So it was a crazy night coming in, but it didn't do well for Dana picking an outdoor event here in Dublin coming in with that rain.
Yeah, it's not going to do us any favours, don't think, down the line, seeing that sort of weather. But Dave, obviously, your first 3 months into the job, how have you enjoyed the job?
Well, 3 months. I didn't even realise the 3 months had passed. We're coming up to April Fool's Day. Maybe that's why you're asking me. But it's been a fantastic 3 months. The crowning glory of the 3 months has been Stockholm in January. 30,000 people in an arena watching Alex Gustafsson and Anthony Johnson. What a night. I mean, 30,000 people up at 4 o'clock in the morning shouting and cheering mixed martial arts. It doesn't get any better than that. They all decided to go to the event rather than go to bed. So it's been an exciting time, but also we've had a busy time planning. We're planning our Krakow event, which is on April the 11th. You'll be able to watch it here in Ireland on PIC TV, so free to air, which is fantastic. We've got the World Tour ending today with Jose and Conor doing their thing on stage later down Dublin Conference Centre, so that's going to be an amazing event, so planning that. But we've also been planning Berlin and Glasgow, and we announced yesterday our main card for Berlin will be Alex Gustafsson against Glover Teixeira. So an absolutely amazing event. We've got some beautiful fights to announce for that one over the next couple of days as well. And then we head to Glasgow. I mean, Glasgow is going to be an absolute storm. I can't wait for Glasgow. Joanne Calderwood from the city of Glasgow.
I was just going to ask you, obviously, with Ash pulling out there recently, Claudia Gadelia, Ash's opponent. She just fell there in Poland. Obviously, that was a lot of people billing that as a number one contenders fight. Is that now the situation for Joanna, that if she gets the win in Krakow, that she's going to get a shot possibly at Joanna in Glasgow?
I think it all boils down to a couple of things. Number one, it's great news, and you're talking about the first 3 months. In the first 3 months, we've had our first European champion under the Zuffa ownership, which is absolutely amazing. Congratulations to Joanna and to the whole of Poland. She'll be at our event on April the 11th, which will be fantastic. But Joanne Calderwood has the opportunity now. She's the first fight on that main card, as I say, on PIC TV. She has that opportunity to show Dana and to show Sean Shelby that maybe she wants that chance. So it's there for the asking. I don't make the matches. I don't make the fights. It's a wonderful thing to be thinking about. I'm looking forward to the commentary on that fight. That would be super. Think about it. It's Joanna against Joanna in Glasgow.
Makes sense.
It's going to be. It could be fantastic if it comes about. But then Ash is going to Montreal, and Ash still has a fantastic opportunity. I don't think her opportunity's gone away because of an injury. She's not on the Krakow card, but that's okay. She's got another great opportunity now in Montreal, and so. It's just great excitement, the whole thing. So the first 3 months have been really, really busy putting on events, busy planning events, busy working on a number of different things with our broadcasters as well. So great times.
Yeah. And I know it might be, your exact line, it'd be more up to Sean Shelby and obviously Joe Silva, this question, but obviously with the, Cage Warriors just up in the air, it's been a sort of a good conveyor belt for the UFC. What's the selection process? Obviously, you signed Stevie Ray during the week. Is there, is it going to be more difficult to fetch out the talent now?
No, I don't think so. I think there are plenty of other promotions all around the world who do a great job in helping those guys get to the top of their game. And then, everybody wants to fight in the UFC. It is the pinnacle of the sport. And I think what it's created is maybe a consolidation in its own way. And, there's a lot of Irish fighters have come through the Cage Warriors route, which has been fantastic to them. But you can get to see every single one of them today down at the Convention Centre, or if you watch on Santanta or you watch on UFC.com. We're going to have Ash Daly there. We're going to have Cahill, Neil, Paddy, Joseph. I'm going to forget somebody, and then I'm going to get in trouble. Who did I forget?
Neil and Paul.
Neil and Paul. How could I forget Neil Seary?
How could anyone forget Neil?
How could I forget Neil? Sorry, Neil.
But Dave, you mentioned to be there as well. You've some really big fights, to announce, I think, for the Berlin card. Is there any sort of inklings into what we can expect? Is that going to be possibly a Fox, or Fox Sports, looking to do something similar to what they're doing with the Glasgow card for Berlin?
No, what Berlin is one of our EMEA fight nights. So it comes under the Fight Night banner. So it'll be similar to Krakow. So Berlin will be, again, on PIC TV here in Ireland and on PIC TV across the UK. So fantastic that we go back to Berlin for our second year running. Everybody was knocking at the door and saying, will you come back, will you come back? People actually said that to us in Stockholm in October, oh, you'll never come back, you'll never come back. And we came back and put on a 30,000-seater event. So we're coming into Berlin, and I guarantee you this fight card is going to be amazing. It'll blow people away when you hear everything.
Come on, Dave, give us a little inkling on the other fights.
Well, all I can say is that we last year we had some great fighters on the card, and one guy came to the fore in his own, which was Nick Hine. Sergeant Nick Hine.
He's a lovely guy.
Nick's a fantastic guy, and he's been out in Thailand training over the last number of months. But I was talking to Nick, and he was telling me a great story which related back to Berlin. Nick fought Drew Dobber.
Yeah. Tell me this. Well, that was a great story.
So Drew Dobber will fight Nick, and it was an immense fight. I mean, the two of them really went at one another. But to me, it showed what mixed martial arts is and what this UFC is all about. But the two guys actually wrapped their arms around one another at the end of the fight, embracing one another, acknowledging the expertise and the professionalism of both. And they went out for a beer afterwards, and Nick introduced Drew to his sister. You fast forward now, another 6-7 months down the line, and now we got Drew Dobber is going to marry Nick Hine's sister. So they're the great stories that come out. So stand by. A lot more to come out of it, but yeah, you'll be blown away with these fights.
I've tried to get as much out of it. Dave, you mentioned before that a TV deal wasn't secured in Germany with a national broadcaster there. Is there any update on a TV deal for the German fans?
Yeah, we're working really, really hard. I think by the time Berlin comes around, we will be able to announce that we actually have got a partnership. We're dotting I's and crossing T's at this moment in time. We've shaken hands, and it's now in the hands of the lawyers to work out the negotiation. But we will be on German TV for Berlin.
Excellent stuff. And a question, obviously Irish fans are going to keep asking, and they've kept asking about a card here this year and the rest of the European schedule. Obviously, I think are we still going to see those 9 events that were promised? There's been 3 so far. Are we going to, I presume a lot's going to be dependent on Conor's title fight at UFC 189. What's the situation with the rest of the calendar year for the UFC in Europe?
Well, I think last year we embarked on a new route. And when you do things like that, you've got to step back after you've done it and say, well, what worked and what actually could we do better? What are the refinements that we want to make in our operation? We did 5 great nights last year. So far we've done Stockholm, we're heading to Krakow, then we're going to Berlin, then we're going to Glasgow, and we've got another one to announce for this calendar year. He just keeps trying, he never stops, and I admire that. But the model that we did last year was fantastic, and it was EMEA fight nights, and it made for new viewership, it made for new audience at all those events, and we entered into new markets. That's what we want to do this year as well, is we want to enter into new markets, and Krakow being the first, and then Glasgow being the second. But we also had the world wake up to what's going on here in Europe, and that's why Fox Sport came to Stockholm. We were broadcast right across the United States of America, second highest viewed show in mixed martial arts in 3 years on Fox Sport. We've got Fox Sport 1 in Glasgow. So again, a new audience and a new way of doing things. So all we're doing is we're rejigging and we're looking at different models to see what we will land with. Yes, we had the ambition of 5, 7, 9, over a period of time. Just a couple of things get in the way of that. Just trying to book arenas, fighters being available. The horrible year we had last year with terms of injuries. And we've come out of the blocks this quarter with the best quarter ever in the UFC. So the first quarter has been absolutely astounding in its own way. You asked me about my first 3 months. This has been astounding all the way through with the shows that we've put on, with the fight nights that have been there, all under the banner of the time is now. Yeah. Now we've moved into welcome to the show. So we're moving into our second phase of it. And it'll keep going and going like that. So it in its own way starts to feel like seasonality rather than looking at it as a year. Don't look at it as a year anymore. Try and look at it as a seasonality. And within our seasonality, so for the time is now, we had Alex Gustafsson and Anthony Johnson and some other great fights on that card that night. Not forgetting my old pal Neil Seary. Can't forget Neil. So we had some great some great fights that night. Now we move into Krakow, which is welcome to the show. We'll move on to Berlin, which will fall under a similar banner. And then Glasgow will be something different. So we're just refining, looking at the way we're doing things.
And is there, obviously for the final quarter of the year, have you a date set for another event?
Have I a date set? Yes, I have a date set.
Is everything in place, arena, all that for the certain location that you're?
Yeah, we hope that we can announce in the next couple of weeks. We know where we want to go. We know where we want to be. We know the date we want to be there. Again, the couple of little things that just need to get through. But I'm hoping that I'll be enjoying a pint of Guinness.
Okay, he's hoping he's enjoying a pint of Guinness. Is that in the UK or in Ireland?
I have never drank Guinness in the UK. I would only drink it in Ireland.
Okay, that's wonderful, Dave. I think that's giving us a lot of what we want to hear. That would be great to obviously get a card back here because of the market. It's just on that point as well. You see, you're back in Dublin this weekend. You've seen the way the country have taken the Conor to mixed martial arts as a whole. It must be, Dana said it as well. The ambition of the UFC. This was their principal goal, was to get in the mainstream. And now you're in the mainstream. The market is, I've had people emailing me about tickets for today's event, and I don't have access to tickets, but it's just gone crazy in this country. It really has. It's gone on another level, even since Boston a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that the great thing is it's not just this country. We were in London yesterday. We had a press conference yesterday with some of the top media from all around the world. We had BT Sport, Sky Sports News, BBC, CNBC, the Sun newspaper, the Mail Online, the Telegraph, the Independent, the Guardian. This is top tier one. We are mainstream. There are a number of other countries where there's an education process still to go through, and we've got to help those through, France being an example with that. But when it comes to a fan basis in the likes of France, we've got over 600,000 fans on Facebook who live in the country of France. So there's different levels of what we're trying to do, but we're very, very pleased. We're always pleased with the reception we get here in Dublin. We're always pleased with the reception we get in London. Dana's really looking forward to this afternoon's conference. It's going to be immense. It's going to be a bit of fun. We've got all the Irish fighters there to support the event as well. Norman Parks, I forgot Norman from the list. Norman's coming down to be there.
Norman's a big fight to announce as well. He's been saying that on Twitter. Have you any inklings into that as well, Dave, while we're here?
I think the best thing you do is ask Norman this afternoon.
Okay, Norman's obviously going to reveal this afternoon. But it's another question. Obviously, we've seen the lads from Sphere MMA, their documentary's been on RTE. Have RTE, Royal Nugent in particular, made any contact about, I'm not sure what your deal with 3 is, how long that's going to last, but have RTE been looking to get on board with the UFC as well?
I think what we've seen everywhere around the world, because number one, when we hold an event, it has a major, major impact in a market. And if you use Poland as the example that's coming up in a week and a half's time, we have not had a broadcast partnership in Poland for 18 months nearly. But we decide we're coming with Krokop and Gonzaga. We got Jimmy Manoa against Jan Blachowicz in the light heavyweight division. Man, I can't wait for that one. We got Joanna on the card. We've actually got 6 Polish fighters on the card, which is immense in itself. So that wakes up the whole of the market. It wakes up the media. It wakes up the fans. It wakes up the broadcast partners. And we're seeing that in every single market that we go to. So some deals are coming to an end. Some deals are being renewed. But it makes for an exciting time. And again, back to my first 3 months in the job, these are exciting times. There's so many different things going on. And we're open with discussions with every broadcast partner. I think the ultimate goal for us is we have not got a one product that fits all sizes. What we want to do is make sure that our product is available in different ways. And so some of that can be free to air. Some of our product can be pay-per-view. Some of our product can be subscription. Some of our product is UFCFightPass.com. So there are many different ways. We can't view it anymore in the way that when I was growing up and you were growing up, there was a little black box that sat in the corner. And that's what we watched. And we were told that you had to watch, whether it was a football match, at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. Consumers today don't consume in that way. They consume at any time, any place, in their time. They want to access events in the way that they want to access events, not in the way that we tell them to access. And that's why our operating model is completely different than what you would see from maybe a boxing promoter or maybe a football promoter. We do things in a completely different way, but it's all to the benefit of the consumer.
And Dave, just a couple more questions. You've been very gracious with your time. The Reebok deal is coming in July. You know, is it going to be exactly the same here in Europe as it is in the United States? As in, you know, are the fighters going to is it going to be the same rules and regulations applied to the guys fighting on this side of the pond?
Yeah, I mean, the Reebok deal is a global deal. It's a global deal that involves all our athletes who are on our roster. So I think we're up to about 570, 580 athletes on the roster at the moment. Everybody from that week, International Fight Week in Las Vegas, which ends in the Conor versus Jose fight at the end of the week, that's when all the athletes will start wearing the product. The beautiful thing about the deal that we've done, and if you take it from a football point of view, you go and you watch any football team, whether it's Manchester United or Manchester City, they're head to toe, you know the look, you know the feel. That's what it's going to be for the UFC going forward. The difference with our one is that the compensation that's being paid by Reebok to the UFC will be flushed back out to the fighters based on a ranking system of their world rankings. So they're being compensated. We're putting on a better show.
That's the official take, so it's going to be compensated on world rankings.
That's the official line.
And regards, obviously, you know, it's been a big issue. Just the final one is, you know, the PEDs issue. Dana's and Lorenzo came out with that press conference. Is it going to be sanctioned under the IMMAF here in Europe, or you know, what's the situation? How is it going to work here in Europe? Is it going to be the sanctioning body for that particular country that you're fighting in, or self-regulation?
So we're only at the beginning of this. In terms of, we made the announcement a couple of weeks ago. I'll help you with the wording. It's IMAF. That makes it easy. So the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation. We work very closely with the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation, not just on PEDs, but on a number of other things, whether it's governance of the sport, whether it's the growth of the amateur sport, whether it's helping countries like Ireland, you know, set up their own national federation. So we work very, very closely with them. But when it comes to the drug testing, we've still got a lot of work to go through. You know, Dana's on record as saying that this thing may get worse before it gets better because of what we're finding. So again, we're just starting this walk. But one thing for sure, if you do drugs, we'll catch you. So don't.
Yeah, no, that's refreshing to hear, because obviously, you know, there's been a lot of issues in the sport over the last number of years. So hopefully that can come to an end with the government.
Yeah, but I think that the key thing here is that we treat this really. This is number one priority for us. We treat this really seriously, and it's top of our conversations every day of the week. You know, I've seen in the past where, I don't know, there may be a athlete, a runner, who has been found doing some sort of substance that they're not allowed to do. You may see a cyclist and they found somebody doing something that they shouldn't have done. That's okay. In terms of, if he's running, he's not going to hurt somebody. If he's cycling, he's not going to hurt somebody. If somebody does drugs in our game, the consequences of that are beyond any belief. Apart from it being wrong.
You're putting someone's life at risk in this game.
Exactly, and that's why we will do everything that we are doing to ensure that it's 100% eradicated. All the testing procedures that we put in place, and you know, when it comes to self-regulating, we're actually above everything else that's there at this moment in time. When it comes to the care of our athletes from a medical point of view, we're way above anything else that is there at this moment. So we take all this very seriously, and no holds barred.
Brilliant stuff. And just a final one for you, Dave. Is it going to be Crow Park, Lansdowne Road, or are we going back to the Three Arena?
I think we probably got to Talca Park this time.
Yeah. So, Dave Allen, it's been an absolute pleasure as always to talk to you, and it's great to see an Irishman succeeding and doing such a fine job in your role.
Thanks very much. Appreciate your support. Keep doing what you're doing. Super.
save here, gentlemen.